I did not get involved in the fundraising for the campaign leading up to Nasrec. And the colleagues who were running the campaign kept me away from that. And as we've said in our statements, all I ever did was, to meet people either at dinners and so forth and say, yes, we are renewing the ANC and all that.
But surely you gave them a criteria. They can't just get money from anybody.
No, we did. But in the end, the Gavin Watson donation came as though it was going to come from him personally. And you may have a view about that. And clearly, with the evidence that has come out, we all have views about that. So that was a blot. So we accept that. And it was never given. And anyone who gave money to the campaign was never giving money for anything in return. Because that's why the campaign managers felt that they never, ever want me to know, and even the amount of money that was raised. So I did not know at all. So in the end,
even now, you didn't call them up after this scandal and said, hey, can you bring the list, let's see, in case there's another Gupta there who's giving you money? No,
they have kept it away. They have done their own audit, and they've said to me, we've done an audit, and we've looked at it, but we want to keep to the arrangement that we had with you, that we don't want you to get involved.
What's your assessment? Do you believe Gavin Watson had corrupt intent in donating to your campaign? Did he believe that if you become president of the ANC and become president of the Republic, certain lines of access and patronage would flow to him?
I don't believe so. And even if he might have thought so, it is not anything that I would have subscribed to, because I just don't do business in that way, or I don't deal with state resources in that way where one is given a favorite type of opportunity because of what you have done. And in fact, in my book, he would have been debarred.
You be the judge. You can follow our show on hashtag your view on 405. You can also tweet me at JJ Tabane. Tweet us at Newzroom 405. Do you believe the president did not know at all, as he claims in that clip, or not? But we move on now because we don't have all night, unfortunately, with that Jackson. Jackson.
So you don't believe that he didn't know?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't, but we
will defend your right not to believe.
All right.
We will defend your
right.
Thank you. Definitely. We fought for that right.
No, thank you very much. I expect nothing less. Tell me, just on the two priorities, you identify 7 priorities in your budget vote. One of the things that always worried the society, and I like the fact that part of what you said in your own speech at the budget vote was that within 100 days, you will do a 25-year review.
Yep.
And me and you know already it will reveal that implementation, not policy, was the biggest problem, right? Have you signed the performance agreement with the president?
The president said all of us are going to sign performance agreements with him in September. He did give that undertaking during his budget speech, that we will sign with him in September.
All right. So in terms of the economy, right, collectively as a team around the president, right, what would constitute success in your view, right? If you look at the next 5 years, because I think that in the SONA, the president made a point of not just planning short term, but casting his eyes 5 years, even 10 years in the case of ESCOM, for example, right? What would constitute success? I mean, you have a situation where last week the Reserve Bank revised the growth to some 1% or something like that.
Yeah.
To
positive.
Yeah, sure, which is a good thing. I mean, we thank God for small mercies, because we're supposed to be, in terms of the RDP, the NDP, which the president has revived in the psyche of the nation last week, was supposed to be at somewhere of 6% in order to reach the targets of the 2030 vision. What would constitute success? You all sign performance agreement next month, right? And then you go off to go and work. You come back after 5 years to give the report to the nation. In terms of economic growth, what would constitute success?
What will constitute success, and that's what all of us must work towards. You know what we're saying in the NDP. We're saying at least by 2030, the economic growth must have hit at least 5.4%.
Okay.
We also say in the NDP, because the president spoke of the NDP,
Yes.
that this very challenging problem of unemployment, which is today standing at 27%, we must at least have reduced it to 6% by 2030. Now it's a tall order. Even the president himself said it's a tall order. But it's a long-term plan that we have put for ourselves as a country. Therefore, this is where we're headed. If we fail to meet that target, we would not have failed because we have not tried. We would have failed despite trying. So we have these targets. These are NDP targets that are still our targets. The NDP is still our North Star, as the president said. So we want to reduce unemployment significantly, at least that by 2030 it's standing at 6%.
Yes.
We want to increase the GDP of our country to the levels of around 5.4%. Is it doable? I think it is. When we look at how much investments we got last year, we got 71 billion worth of investment last year. The president has said in the next 5 years from last year, at least we must get 1.3 trillion rands to invest in the economy. Apart from that 1.3 trillion rands, which again, we still have the envoys, by the way, that are moving around the world. Internationally, trying to get this money. But also we have established an infrastructure fund to the tune of 100 billion. We are saying others must also come in so that we build these dams that are much needed to give our people water. We build these roads, etc., all the much needed infrastructure in our communities. So I'm saying on the economic front, we have not changed our aspirations. Our aspirations is to create jobs. Jobs, but you can't create jobs when you don't grow the economy. And
to grow that economy, there are lots of players in that economy. SO is at the heart of it, right? Do you think there is a little bit of lethargy, I hope it's a correct English word, or even in Asia, in sorting out the SOEs? The president did not mention what he was going to do about SAA and ESCOM leadership, right, at this State of the Nation address. The CEO of SAA has resigned, the chairperson of SAA has resigned, the Minister of Public Enterprise decided to go and appoint Bezaiden Hout, who the BMF is busy jumping and saying this has shown that black leadership is not trusted, right? There are actors at PRASA, actors at Transnet, actors everywhere, right? And in all of these actors, there seems to be a trend where black leadership is being, finding itself on harm's way. At PIC, we have a situation where the Deputy Minister of Finance, right, is not being appointed as chair of the committee. We have this thing about Maria Ramos being brought.
An interim committee there.
No.
Interim PIC committee.
But you can talk to me frankly. The reality is the Minister of Finance hasn't appointed the Deputy Minister as the chair. He has brought in Maria Ramos as a director, who's also being touted to go and fix ESCOM. Right? Are these appointments of the president, or the president, like the former president, doesn't know? It's not consulted about all these appointments in case later on they backfire. You can talk to me frankly about it.
No, I can tell you some of the appointments obviously will come to cabinet and will be endorsed by cabinet.
Okay.
Now, the problem in our country is that for us to fix some of our entities, you need the requisite people with the requisite skills. So that you fix those. Now, whether those people are drawn from our white compatriots and black compatriots is neither here nor there.
But I don't think the issue is crazy to question the appointment of Bezaiden Hout, for example. If we let's focus on that example.
Well, I don't know that Bezaiden Hout. I don't have the details, but I'm just speaking on principle. If we are all South Africans, and we get South Africans to help us fix any of our state-owned entities, I will be the most happiest person.
Sure.
As long as those people come in there with the requisite capacity, to me, it's not the color of the person's skin. It's whether the person has the requisite capacity to fix what has gone wrong.
Yeah.
Secondly, you know, government as government is also doing its best even to assist our own SOEs who are financially embarrassed.
Yeah.
We are putting monies as government in the SOEs, your ESCOM, you know, there's 23 billion for almost 10 years that we'll be putting in there in ESCOM. So there is political will on the part of government to get these SOEs working. But can the economy grow on the basis of SOEs? No. You need to get investors coming in.
But you are not dismissive of the issue of black economic empowerment.
No.
And a necessary focus on affirmative action, affirming black and Africans in particular, right, to go and be in the levers of these things. In other words, you are not saying to me, it doesn't matter to the president that he may have a legacy of or some kind of an aura that says it looks like under him, Africans are falling all over the wayside. If you look at just the parastatals that are in trouble, who's acting there and so on, and who's been fired, who's been leaving, right, you may find a worrying picture.
Well, we will follow that one up because, as you will know, our struggle has been to ensure that the governance of the country should not only be at the level of those who are in cabinet. Even those who are in charge of our treasured SOEs and should in fact be reflective of the peoples in our country, particularly those who are left out of the governance of those structures. Now, if there is a trend, I was not aware of the trend.
Okay.
If you are saying there is a trend, we will go and study the trend.
Examine it when you come back.
We will examine the trend.
Let's discuss it.
Because if indeed there is a trend, as you are saying, and I don't believe that there is a trend, but I will still go and examine it.
All right.
I don't believe it. Is it BMF that says there is a trend?
Yeah. That's here. They were here, they talked all night about it.
Well, let's go and examine what they have said.
I'll ask them to send you the information.
Let them send us the information. Let's then visit whether there is indeed attempts at marginalizing black people anywhere in our governance architecture.
You'll need to fight that.
We'll fight that with everything.
Before you go, why did you remove GCIS from under the Minister of Communications into the presidency? Remove MDDA, remove Brand South Africa. The Minister of Communications will not have a responsibility of positioning the country if you remove all those three from under her. What was the logic of that? I'm sure there must be a good reason.
Who has got to position the country internationally? Is the president working with the Minister of International Affairs?
Okay.
So from that angle, it makes sense that you have got Brand South Africa in the presidency. But secondly,
which doesn't have leadership, by the way.
Which we're dealing with,
on your desk, right?
It's one area that we're dealing with, Brand SA. Another entity that also has got difficulties at leadership level, where we've got actors, we've got Hollywood, is the Media Diversity and Development Agency. Yes, that is on our radar screen in the next 100 days. As we have said, we would have sorted out those difficulties.
And GCIS CEO, no CEO for 6 years.
Which is bad.
What are you going to do about it? It sends a bad picture, man.
But you know that we have already advertised.
I didn't know.
We have already, last week,
all right.
we have advertised for the DG in GCIS. You can't have an organization like GCIS without a head, not even 6 years, 7 years. So we are making correct what has been
But what's your own assessment about that? I mean, if you look at people like yourself, I mean, people like even the former president, Tabane and so on, all of you, you know, growing in the DP, what do you call it? DIP of the ANC. And then you've got the propaganda machinery of government for 6 years being at limbo. I mean, you should see, once I said you are coming here, you should see the messages I'm getting from your own government communicator saying, oh, please just ask him how is he going to re-inspire government communicators? Literally.
Well, first of all, to re-inspire them, they must have a head.
They must have a head.
They must have somebody that is called
oh, yes,
their
they must
head.
have a leader. Yeah.
A leader.
Yeah.
They must be the head of GCIS.
Yes.
Secondly, you must also fill the other positions that have not been filled. I agree with you. We dropped the ball by not filling in many of our entities very critical positions. How do you give this confidence even to the lower ranking staff when all the upper echelons are acting, when they are in Hollywood?
Yeah.
So it's something that we're working on.
But also, one of the biggest things that also came out on Twitter and some of the WhatsApps we are receiving about this is that the provinces seems to be doing their own thing. For example, the whole dichotomy between a spokesperson and a head of communications and political appointees, it seems to be in some kind of a disarray, you know, where indeed it has sought to demoralize communicators. I think it's something that you need to look at carefully.
We have not, we are only how many days in office? About, so in fact, 2 months, less than 2 months. We have not been to provinces.
Okay.
We will meet with all our communicators at all levels. Okay. The only communicators we have met now are those at national level.
Yeah.
But we have not been to our provincial, if you mean GCIS communicators.
No, communicators of the provincial governments.
Oh, no, we have not. We have not met.
Not been there.
First of all, the GCIS communication machinery in provinces. And secondly, we have not met with our own colleagues who are dealing with communication in provinces. And that's something that we intend doing soon.
Yeah. One of the biggest crises that's faced government is the whole issue of the SABC. As we speak now, right, what is the simple message you can give me from the President's office about, you know, your intentions to save that place in as far as injection, or rather, you've told us about ESCOM. We even know the number. It's very clear what you're going to do there, right? SABC, there seems to be a haziness about it, right? As late as 2 weeks ago, when the Minister of Communication presented their budget vote, right, she was still non-committal. No, we'll help them, but they must meet a certain criteria. I mean, it's months of her being seized with this issue. Can you give me a simple answer from a presidency about, even the SABC people are watching, we all want the SABC to succeed?
No, everybody wants the SABC to succeed. And you'll also know that for you to be bailed out, there are just a few conditions that you need to meet.
What are these ones that seems to always come up as late as 2 weeks ago, that the SABC is failing to meet? Maybe you must be transparent about what it is they are failing to meet.
Go, and I'm not the Minister of Communications. I will ask Minister Tabane to come here and speak to you, but from a government's perspective, government has agreed that we will assist SABC. And I think the Minister of Finance has already told the world that we will do so. So, well, they also know that, you see, the minister does not come with the bags of cash and say, here you are, you have no obligations. It doesn't work like that in real life.
You think government has a messaging problem at the moment? If you're just from where you are sitting and you are looking at the overall picture, do you think government has a messaging problem? Minister of Finance says one thing, Minister of Transport says another thing, the Premier of Gauteng tweets something else. It doesn't look good.
Well,
on critical issues that society, you know, looks for leadership from the ruling party.
Well, you can't say that government has a messaging problem. You might as well say on a particular issue that is referred to as Gauteng e-toll.
No. I was not. The reason I didn't give that example was because I'm talking overall. 2 months ago, your minister your deputy president stood in parliament and said, I don't take the Minister of Finance seriously. You can't tell me that that's not a crisis. You can't dismiss it like that, because the issue is that if we don't identify a problem, we're not going to be able to solve it.
JJ, you are being hard on the deputy president. He even said there in Parliament that he was saying so in jest.
Oh, is that so?
Yes.
But what does he do, by the way?
But he said so.
Just to transit to another matter, you know, as the president delegated serious thematic issues to the deputy president to exercise authority over, or, right, is it a situation where, you know, like it happened in the previous regime, we are not sure what the deputy president is in charge of specifically?
JJ, you don't know that the president has been to the deputy president has been to Sudan. You don't know that, don't you? He has been to Sudan as the envoy of the president there.
Yeah.
But you also know that he is also the chair of our moral regeneration team in the country. So, amongst other things.
Yeah.
Apart from being the leader of government business.
Yeah, but he seems to be under the radar. Do you have a sense that he is, you know, in a sense, rising to this deputy position? And I'm not just talking about 2 months, because I'm not talking to you as somebody who just came to power. I'm talking to you as people who have been in power for 25 years. This particular duo has been a duo for close to 2 years now. And I don't think you'll disagree with me when I say that the deputy president is under the radar, unless that's a strategy. Then I can accede that the strategy is for him to be under the radar. We hardly hear him. He hardly speaks to people. You know, he's just, you know, he'll emerge from time to time in Parliament and say something and then disappear. I
don't know when you say he hardly speaks. He speaks to the people who are part of the moral regeneration movement because they're chairing it.
Okay.
He speaks to the people that he has been sent to bring peace in Sudan. He speaks to the Speaker of Parliament because one of his responsibilities as the leader of government business is to ensure that ministers are in the House, that ministers answer questions, that ministers fulfill their obligations as members of Parliament. So therefore, in that sense, he speaks to the
relevant
Speaker.
stakeholders.
Yes. Now, I don't know whether you wanted him to speak, you wanted him to speak to you.
No, of course he must speak. Of course he must speak to me. Can you arrange him to speak to me?
He speaks to all those that he has been delegated to speak to. In fact,
but he's not delegated to speak to the media. Because you're raising me as an example. Maybe you're talking about the media.
No. I don't know whether you have ever asked to speak to him as the media.
You can imagine I've asked.
No, I don't think so. Knowing you, I don't think that you have asked.
But will you ask, will you help us for him to come?
No.
I just want to understand what he does. He must come and tell the nation about what he's doing.
But I've just told you what he's doing. I've just told you.
But I'm sure he has the detail. Yeah.
He's also the chair of the ANC political committee.
Yeah.
That is the committee
is that the deployment committee?
No. That's another committee. Yeah. The deployment, of course, he also chairs that one.
So see, we have a lot to talk to him about. He must come and tell us about cadre deployment.
So much work that he is doing. For you to say that the president is under the radar, I don't know which radar. Because he's doing so much in his
He's doing it very quietly. But anyway, I accede.
But he's a quiet fellow.
Is he a quiet fellow? You mean generally?
Yes. Generally, the deputy president is not as talkative as you are. Generally.
Minister Jackson Mthembu, always good talking to you. Yeah. And I like that you like to engage. But when you come back in a year, because I think that's how long it's going to take for you to come back, what are the 2 things we should judge you against as minister in the presidency? 2.
We have just said, give us 100 days to fix GCIS.
All right.
Give us 100 days to fix Brand South Africa.
All right.
Give us 100 days to fix MDDA. Yes.
Okay, and then...
Of course, then we will also be coming back to you to say to you, what is the national... we would have signed the contract with the president and all of us.
And you'll be able to share with us some of the details.
Secondly, we will also tell you that we now have a program of taking the president and the deputy president and ministers to the people.
All right.
So that we don't sit in those hallowed walls of union buildings or Cape Town for that matter, and not go to where our people are
and not be under the
how they live.
It must be above the radar. We're going to have to leave it there.
We will have a lot to talk in a year's time.
So in a year's time, you'll be back.
A lot.
Wonderful. Minister in the Presidency, Jackson Mthembu, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And from you at home, you can, of course, send us your view about what he said. Do you believe him? Is he giving you a sense of confidence? Does his exuberance rub off on you tonight or not? Hashtag your view on 405. That's where you can send us. And, of course, on your screens, our WhatsApp line if you want to talk to us continuously about issues that we talk about here. When we round off, I'm going to talk to Zamikaya Maseti, who's going to give me a sense of what he thinks of what the president said earlier and what the minister and the president said to me in the last hour and 15 minutes. Yeah. But until we talk frankly later, keep well. Let's take a break now.